Miss Gilligan, I've read your complaint. The story that you tell is relatively simple. The amount of money that you're requesting based upon your complaint is not so simple. So I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
It seems to me from your complaint that you were living with the defendant's sister.
Yes.
And at some point, the defendant got tossed out of his house.
He was kicked out of his parents' house, so he came to live with his sister and myself.
And so you took him in.
Took him in, yeah. And then he had been to jail. And when he came out of jail, he came to move back in with us. Disobeyed some of the rules we set out, so we kicked him out.
How old was he at the time?
17.
So you kicked him out?
Yeah.
No, that didn't happen. I actually moved out.
You moved out because we made you move out.
No. I didn't come home for about a week, and I was 18, actually. When I got out of juvenile hall, this has nothing to do with what happened before. My parents didn't kick me out. I went to juvenile hall. I actually went to live with my sister on Easter of '94, I believe. And I was in there for 3 months. I got in trouble. Prior to that 3 months, I went to juvenile hall, did whatever, got out, moved back in there. When I got out, I was 18 at the time. I was doing my own thing, going to school, working, and I wasn't coming home a lot, which I understand. I went out, they called me, they were having a hard time with it. And,
they were having a hard time with your hours.
My sister,
well, because he wasn't working, so.
Well, I was working. I was working at a water park at the time and going to school.
And got fired.
In any event, they didn't want you coming and going at all hours.
Right.
They wanted some order in their house.
Yeah, so I
Well, that's reasonable.
He was taking advantage of the situation, so we kicked him out.
Fine.
No.
Now let's talk about this money that you say he owes you.
Okay.
Your complaint talks in terms of a $500 bike.
That's what I
motorbike.
sold the bike for. The bike is actually worth a lot. What had happened is he finally had got a job, and I was real proud
While
of
he was
him.
living with you.
No, he was out on his own at this point because
Okay.
we didn't let him come back in.
Okay.
So he got a job. I was totally proud of him because he hadn't had a job this whole time. Got a job. I didn't want to sell the bike, but I thought he was taking the bus. I thought, okay, maybe he's finally getting his act together. Okay, so sold the bike. It's actually worth anywhere between $1,600 and $2,200. I sold it to him for $500, and I made a payment plan for him. $500, gave me $100 to start off. Never saw him after that. Never paid me a penny. Then he crashes it.
I paid $200 after. I paid a total of $300 on the bike. I had an
I
accident.
keep records of everything.
But
I'm
you
very
lie
meticulous.
about various things too.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I'm the one who went to jail, right?
Okay.
Right.
Listen. You say he gave you $100 on the bike.
Right.
So he still owes you $400 for the bike.
Well, what happened is he crashed it. So because I sold it to him for less than it's worth, he did almost $1,500 for the damage to the bike. I want the bike back. So I want to take the money that he, for the damages and get the thing fixed. I want the bike. I never wanted to give it to him, but I did to help him out. But as soon as he started screwing me, I thought, no, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Well, where is this bike now?
The bike is right,
In her possession.
yeah, but it's trash. You can't even drive it.
She we made a verbal agreement. If I give the bike back to her, I don't have to do anything with it anymore. Case closed. Never brought up until 6
Okay,
months
so I'm
later.
just gonna let
until
you
6 months later,
You also
she said
totaled her
she
truck,
said she wanted to give it to her
Michael.
sister,
Listen.
which is true.
Well,
Okay.
I
Blackie.
live with
Okay.
her, and I saw this whole thing happen. Not only did he total her motorcycle, but he totaled her car.
Just a second. Is there any reason why she can't tell me the story?
Well, she's obviously not, so why didn't she do it, Pam?
Listen, you have the bike back now.
Yeah,
Did
but
you
it's
get any-
unrideable.
Did you get any money for the bike from insurance or as a result
No,
of this?
I didn't even have insurance. I was driving it to and from work. I was starting the first day. I work at the Ritz-Carlton now. My first day on the job, I was going. It's up in the mountain. I had an accident. I
It was
punctured
on the
my
road,
foot.
too. It wasn't in the
I
mountain.
punctured
Listen.
my foot. I punctured my foot. I have proof if I have to.
Whatever.
I got a burn.
Why didn't you have insurance on this bike?
Well, I didn't have it very long.
How long did you have it?
About a month and a half, 2 months before I was going down the hill. And they call it Dead Man's Curve, where a lot of motorcycle accidents happen. Had an accident.
Ritz-Carlton parking lot.
No, it wasn't the Ritz-Carlton
Hello?
parking
Miss
lot.
Gilligan, you're
I-
being disrespectful.
I tried to save
I don't
up
think
money.
I don't think that should be your style.
I tried to save up money to do it. I couldn't do it. So I did stop paying on it. She made a verbal agreement, give it back to her. I don't have to deal with it anymore. She was going to give it to her twin sister. I said, fine, that's it. I owed her $200 on it. Case closed. Never brought it up till 6 months later when I had an accident in her truck.
Well, then, you see, she doesn't mention the accident in the truck.
I know, but
in your
this is what
complaint.
this is what
Well,
brings
listen
it
to
up,
me.
though.
That's a whole
This is what
listen
brings
to
it
me.
up, though.
And that's in big, that's not even civil, that's
Listen.
not even small claims.
Listen to me. Your complaint says that you want $1,471.
For damages to the motorcycle.
Oh, no. So the truck has nothing to do with your lawsuit. Is that correct? Because his answer talks in terms of some truck business.
Okay.
You're
That's
not dealing with
no,
the
that's
truck.
a whole nother case.
Fine. You're just talking about...
I just want the money for my motorcycle to get it fixed. It was
no.
worth a lot more than what I sold it to him for. And also needed money
Listen,
to get
that's your
fixed.
problem. Ms. Gilligan, you made an agreement with him to sell him the motorcycle for $500.
Right.
Within a month and a half time, you got your motorcycle back because he had wrecked it.
But it's completely demolished. I can't ride it.
That may be, but what he owes you is for the bicycle because your arrangement with him was for $500 for the bicycle. Now let us assume that he didn't have damage to the bicycle. It wasn't wrecked. If he had given you the $500, case closed.
It's a motorcycle, you know that.
Motorcycle, I
Okay.
understand that. It's a motorcycle.
It's a collector's
if
item.
No.
You made an arrangement with him,
She
Miss
cheated on the
Gilligan.
odometer. She.
Oh, shut up, Michael. That is not true.
Just do
Okay.
me a favor.
know it.
Bird, would you put her out of the courtroom?
Thank you. Step out, please.
You're
Your
such
Honor?
a lying sack of
Your Honor.
Ma'am, this way.
The only reason that this motorcycle is brought up again because
Sir,
of the.
I want you to be quiet.
Okay.
I'm not at this point talking to you. If he had paid you the $500, whether you were being benevolent because you gave him this collector's item and because you wanted him to have transportation, if he had paid you the $500, case would have been closed, correct?
Right, if he
Correct.
would have paid for it.
Right, but it was a month's period of time. He didn't pay you for the motorcycle. He made one payment, and then you got your motorcycle back wrecked.
Because I had to go pick it up from the place where he left it.
Whatever. You sold him your motorcycle. You shouldn't have taken it back. Meanwhile, I'm going to give you two things in this case. It's a very easy decision. You say you gave her how much money, sir?
I gave her a total of $300.
Oh, that's
Well,
not
first,
true.
just a
I
sec,
have
just
it
a
all
sec.
documented.
Just a second. Just a second. How did you give it to her? In check or cash?
No, I didn't have a checkbook at the time. I went to my ATM, pulled out $100. I
You
never
have
kept
receipts?
records.
You just
I never
second, you
had
have
records.
receipts?
I have
I don't have
them.
records.
I have everything on paper.
I gave her $100
Miss
bills.
Gilligan, all you have there is how much you say he paid you. Is that what you have in that?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. What I'm asking you for is proof, sir,
No, ma'am.
with deductions from your ATM over particular periods of time in $100 denominations. Do you
This
have
is-
that?
This is over a year ago. No.
No. All right. The judgment of the court is for the plaintiff in the amount of $400. I believe that he gave you $100.
Oh, come on. Now, what am I supposed
I
to do
believe-
with the motorcycle?
Listen, you sold it to him for $500. You're
but he
getting your
crashed
$500.
it. Now I have to get
That's
it fixed.
Party's excused. Step out, please.
Here.
This way. Ma'am, this way. Out the back to your right, please.
She didn't even look at anything I had. She took his word. He's a lying person.
He's been in jail.
He's been in jail.
He's
He
only
wrecked
19
my
years
car.
old.
For stealing
For
a car,
grand
stolen
theft
car.
auto more than
That's
one
right.
time.
That's right.
Okay, so
Look,
I
did
had
you
all
hit
this.
you in your eye?
Yeah,
Did you
Mike,
piss
that
her
has a
off?
lot to do
Piss
with
her
it.
off?
Yeah, Mike, that has a lot
Like
to
I
do with
forged the bill
everything.
sale for your truck and lies.
Yeah,
Lies.
yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Okay,
You
so
got
she
your
didn't look
money
at
either,
anything
did
I
you?
had. Here he comes with nothing.
फोन ना भी रोल नंबर स्लिप आएगी इंदे ओ अगे चोर चोर मोड़ आ गया